Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News, where you receive real and authentic updates about the Iraqi Dinar. If you want to stay informed with moment-by-moment developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Today we're going to analyze an important political development coming out of Iraq that has the potential to influence the country's economic direction and, indirectly, the future environment surrounding the Iraqi dinar. The topic revolves around a legal and political debate that has emerged during Iraq's ongoing government formation challenges. Some commentators have described the situation dramatically as the possibility of Iraq without a government, while legal experts and political figures are discussing procedural solutions that could help break the current political deadlock. To understand why this situation matters, we first need to step back and look at the broader political context. Iraq's political system operates under a parliamentary framework where government formation often depends on coalition building among several political blocs. After elections take place, the process of selecting a prime minister and forming a cabinet can sometimes become complicated due to disagreements among parties and alliances. These negotiations are a normal part of parliamentary systems, but in Iraq they can occasionally lead to extended periods of uncertainty while different factions attempt to reach consensus. In the current situation being discussed, there has been ongoing debate inside the political alliance known as the Coordination Framework. This alliance includes several influential political groups that collectively play a major role in determining the next government leadership. Within this framework, there have been internal disagreements regarding who should be nominated for the position of Prime Minister. One of the central names in this conversation is Mohammed Shia al-Sudani. Over time, al-Sudani has emerged as a leading candidate supported by a significant portion of the coordination framework. However, as often happens in complex coalition politics, not every member of the alliance has initially agreed on the same nominee. Some political figures have argued that another candidate could still be proposed instead. At the same time, there has also been discussion surrounding the role of former Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki and his political influence within the alliance. Political observers often point out that leadership decisions inside large coalitions can involve negotiations between multiple power centers, each attempting to secure a candidate that reflects their political priorities. According to the perspective presented in the news commentary being discussed today, the argument is that the legal and procedural environment surrounding the government formation process may effectively lead to al-Sudani becoming the final nominee. The analysis suggests that despite objections from some members of the coordination framework, the structure of the political negotiations and the need to move forward with government formation could ultimately result in al-Sudani remaining the primary candidate. However, it's important to approach this type of claim carefully. Political outcomes in parliamentary systems are rarely guaranteed until official announcements are made and formal votes take place. While analysts may believe that a particular outcome is likely, the reality is that political negotiations can change rapidly depending on compromises, alliances, and constitutional procedures. Now let's explore why this political discussion matters from an economic perspective and why followers of the Iraqi dinar often pay close attention to developments like this. Political stability plays a crucial role in shaping economic policy, investor confidence, and government decision-making. When a country experiences prolonged political uncertainty or delays in forming a government, it can slow down important economic initiatives. These may include budget approvals, investment programs, infrastructure projects, and reforms aimed at strengthening financial institutions. In Iraq's case, the government plays a particularly important role in economic management because the state is heavily involved in the country's oil sector, public spending, and development programs. This means that leadership decisions at the top of the political system can influence how quickly economic strategies are implemented. For observers of the Iraqi dinar, the key point to understand is that currency stability and long-term financial reforms usually depend on broader institutional stability. Central banks and financial authorities tend to operate most effectively when the political environment provides clear direction and consistent governance. When Iraq has a functioning government with an approved cabinet and a clear policy agenda, it becomes easier for economic ministries, regulatory agencies, and the central bank to coordinate their activities. This coordination is especially important when a country is working on financial modernization, banking reforms, and long-term economic diversification. If the current political discussions do indeed move toward a resolution and lead to the confirmation of a prime minister, that outcome could help reduce uncertainty in Iraq's policy environment. A finalized government structure typically allows parliament to focus more fully on legislative priorities, including economic laws and budget implementation. In the short term, resolving a political deadlock can help stabilize expectations among investors and international partners. Iraq works with several global financial institutions and regional allies on economic cooperation, energy development, and reconstruction projects. Clear leadership often makes these partnerships easier to manage because decision-making channels become more predictable. For example, once a government is officially formed, ministries responsible for finance, oil planning, and trade can move forward with agreements, reforms, and public spending plans. These actions can contribute to economic activity across multiple sectors, including energy production, infrastructure development, and private sector growth. From a currency perspective, the Iraqi dinar's value is influenced by a range of structural economic factors. These include oil revenues, foreign currency reserves, inflation control, fiscal policy, and the broader stability of the financial system. Political stability interacts with all of these elements because it affects how efficiently economic policies can be implemented. If Iraq successfully moves beyond the current political debate and establishes a stable governing coalition, the immediate effect may simply be a return to predictable governance. This may not produce sudden or dramatic changes in currency policy, but it can support a stable environment in which gradual economic reforms continue. It is also important to remember that Iraq's central bank maintains responsibility for managing the country's monetary policy. The central bank typically focuses on maintaining financial stability, controlling inflation, and managing the exchange rate in a way that supports overall economic balance. Because of this, any potential adjustments to currency policy usually occur within a broader framework of economic planning rather than as sudden reactions to individual political events. Political developments can influence the environment in which policy decisions are made, but they do not automatically lead to immediate currency changes. Looking further ahead, long-term economic development in Iraq depends on several strategic priorities. These include diversifying the economy beyond oil, strengthening the banking sector, improving transparency in public finances, and encouraging private investment. Many of these goals require cooperation between parliament, the executive branch, and regulatory institutions. A stable government can help move these initiatives forward by passing necessary legislation, approving budgets, and coordinating development programs. Over time, progress in these areas can contribute to stronger economic fundamentals. For followers of the Iraqi dinar, the most constructive way to interpret political developments is to see them as part of the broader institutional process that shapes Iraq's economic future. Government formation debates may appear dramatic in headlines, but they are often part of the normal functioning of parliamentary politics. The key indicator to watch is whether political leaders ultimately reach agreements that allow institutions to function smoothly. When governance structures are operating effectively, it tends to support economic planning and financial stability. In the current case, if the nomination process concludes with a widely accepted candidate and a functioning cabinet, that outcome could help reduce uncertainty in Iraq's political landscape. This would allow policymakers to focus more directly on economic priorities such as infrastructure development, energy sector management, and financial reform. It is also worth noting that Iraq continues to hold significant economic potential due to its natural resources, strategic geographic position, and young population. Many international observers believe that if governance and institutional stability continue to improve, Iraq could expand its economic influence in the region over the coming decades. However, progress in these areas typically occurs gradually rather than through sudden changes. Economic transformation involves long-term planning, regulatory development, and consistent policy implementation. For viewers who follow Iraqi Dinar news closely, maintaining a balanced perspective is essential. Political developments like the current government formation debate are important because they shape the environment in which economic policy is made. At the same time, it is important to avoid assuming that any single political event will immediately change the trajectory of the currency. Instead, the more realistic approach is to watch how political stability, economic reform, and financial governance evolve together over time. These factors collectively influence investor confidence, economic growth, and monetary policy decisions. As Iraq continues navigating its political process, observers will likely pay close attention to announcements regarding government formation, cabinet appointments, and legislative priorities. Each of these developments contributes to the broader picture of how the country's institutions are functioning. In the near term, the key question is whether political leaders can move beyond internal disagreements and finalize the leadership structure required to govern effectively. If that process is completed smoothly, it could mark an important step toward reducing uncertainty and maintaining steady economic management. For now, analysts and observers will continue monitoring official statements, parliamentary developments, and legal procedures that determine the final outcome of the nomination process. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide responsible, factual, and balanced coverage of developments related to Iraq's economy and the Iraqi dinar. If you found this analysis helpful and want to stay updated with clear and responsible discussions about Iraqi economic developments, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. And as a final reminder, the information presented in this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered financial advice, investment guidance, or a recommendation to buy or sell any currency. Always conduct your own research and consult with qualified financial professionals when making financial decisions.